Have you ever wondered why some people stay calm when life tests them, while others break at the first sign of difficulty? Why some move through chaos with quiet precision, while others are consumed by noise, doubt, and distraction? It's not luck, it's not talent, it's discipline, but not the kind you think. True discipline isn't built in the gym or the office or in your morning routine. It's built in silence when no one's watching, when your mind whispers excuses and your soul whispers keep going. Most people chase results. They chase speed, they chase approval, but the Stoic understands success is not what you gain, it's what you can control. And the greatest control begins within. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The disciplined person doesn't wake up to motivation. They wake up to purpose. They don't ask, "How do I feel today?" They ask, "What must I do today?" You see, discipline isn't just doing hard things, it's doing what's right, even when no one will notice. It's protecting your focus from distractions, your peace from noise, and your mind from weakness. Every time you resist the urge to react, every time you choose patience over anger, every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build a fortress within. That's what Stoics understood centuries ago, that peace and power are not opposites. They are born from the same place, self-control. And yet, in today's world, most people are slaves to impulse. They scroll, they react, they consume, but they rarely reflect. The Stoic man or woman is different. They live by principles, not by moods. They choose order over chaos. And this quiet order becomes their strength. So if you've ever felt scattered, if your mind has ever been at war with itself, know this: you don't need more motivation. You need discipline, not forced, not loud, but steady, like the tide that shapes stone, because the Stoic way isn't about doing more. It's about becoming less moved by fear, temptation, or praise. The first step toward mastery begins here, when you realize your greatest enemy isn't the world around you, it's your undisciplined self. And once you understand that you no longer fight others, you train your mind, you refine your habits. You protect your energy because you now know discipline is not restriction, it's liberation. The Stoics believed that the greatest victory is not over the world, but over oneself. They didn't measure strength by muscles or power, but by self-command. The rare ability to stay unmoved when everything around you tries to shake your peace. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Discipline, to the Stoic, wasn't punishment. It was alignment, a harmony between your thoughts, your actions, and your principles. Most people live as slaves to impulse, pulled by pleasure, comfort, and fear. They live reacting instead of choosing, but the Stoic mind is different. It acts with intention. It doesn't chase what feels good. It chooses what is good. Imagine waking up and realizing that every moment offers a choice, to control your reaction or to be controlled by it, to guard your attention or to give it away freely to noise and distraction. That's the battlefield the Stoics fought on, the silent war within the mind. Seneca once wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." The Stoic doesn't fear difficulty, they embrace it. Because they know discipline is forged in discomfort. The calm mind isn't born from ease, it's trained in resistance. In today's world, discipline has been misunderstood. We associate it with control, rigidity, even suppression, but the Stoic form of discipline was freedom, the freedom to stay true to your values no matter what storm arises. When your phone vibrates and your focus shatters, that's where discipline begins. When someone insults you and your emotions burn, that's where stoicism begins. When you feel tired, uninspired, and lost, but still choose to take one small right action, that's where strength is born. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning, at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I am rising to do the work of a human being. To him, discipline wasn't a burden. It was a duty, a sacred commitment to live according to nature and reason, to do what must be done with calm, without complaint. The Stoic way teaches you this. Discipline is not about perfection, it's about direction. It's not about controlling life, it's about controlling yourself within it. You don't need to conquer every challenge, you just need to stop running from the ones within you. The truly disciplined person moves through life with grace. They don't boast, they don't seek praise. Their quiet consistency becomes their power. Their restraint becomes their weapon. They live by this silent creed, let my actions speak my philosophy, because the Stoic truth is simple, what you do daily becomes who you are. Your habits shape your identity, your thoughts shape your reality, and your discipline shapes your destiny. You don't need more information, you need more implementation. You don't need louder motivation, you need quieter resolve. The Stoic doesn't ask for an easy path, they ask for strength to walk the hard one with dignity. You wake up one morning with a heavy mind. You know what you should do, but your body resists. The bed feels warm, the world feels cold, and your purpose feels distant. You tell yourself, just 5 more minutes, and watch the day begin without you. This is the quiet war that every person fights. The war between comfort and commitment, between discipline and desire. It's not a battle fought in front of others. It's fought in silence, behind your eyes, every single day. The Stoics understood this struggle well. They too felt the pull of laziness, the sting of distraction, the ache of self-doubt. But what made them different was not that they were stronger. It was that they faced the conflict instead of escaping it. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He was reminding himself that the real enemy isn't the world. It's the voice inside that whispers, later, tomorrow, or I can't. That voice sounds comforting, but it steals your future piece by piece. You felt it before, the heaviness of unfulfilled potential. You promise yourself you'll begin tomorrow, you'll meditate when things calm down, you'll exercise when motivation comes. You'll stay focused when life feels easier. But the truth is, motivation never saves you, discipline does. And here lies the greatest inner conflict. You want progress, but you also crave comfort. You seek freedom, but you avoid struggle. You dream of greatness, but you fear the pain required to reach it. The Stoics called this conflict the trial of the mind, a test not of strength, but of stability. Seneca once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. We waste time because we avoid discomfort. We avoid discomfort because we haven't learned to see it as the path. We want results without resistance, growth without grind, peace without pain. But nature never works that way. The oak tree doesn't grow tall without enduring the storm. The sculptor doesn't create beauty without striking the marble. And the soul doesn't grow strong without friction. In your moments of weakness, your mind becomes a battlefield. You will feel the pull of laziness and the whisper of purpose. You will feel the sting of distraction and the call of clarity. You will feel the temptation to quit and the echo of your higher self saying, "Keep going. This is where Stoicism becomes alive. It's not in books or quotes or grand speeches. It's in those small decisions when no one's watching. When you choose silence over reaction, discipline over desire, focus over noise, that's when you are practicing real Stoicism. Remember this: every small act of control builds your strength. When you wake up early instead of giving in, you win. When you choose calm over anger, you win. When you keep going even when tired, you win. The Stoic knows that the hardest victory is the one within. Not the conquest of others, but the mastery of the self. Because every time you delay your purpose for comfort, you betray yourself. And every time you overcome that temptation, you build the muscle of the soul. There's a quiet pride that comes from doing what you said you would do, not because it's easy, but because it's right. That's what separates the disciplined from the distracted. Not luck, not talent, just quiet, relentless consistency. The Stoics taught that pain is temporary, but weakness of will can last a lifetime. If you can endure the discomfort of discipline, you'll never suffer the regret of inaction. So when your mind starts to argue with your duty, don't negotiate. Rise, breathe, and act. You'll find that motion itself gives clarity, and through that clarity, peace is found. Because peace is not the absence of conflict, it's the mastery of it. There comes a moment, quiet, subtle, but undeniable, when you finally see through the illusion. The illusion that freedom means doing whatever you want, that peace means avoiding effort, that happiness is found in comfort. But when you look deeper, you realize something powerful. The things that feel easy rarely make you strong, and the things that demand your strength shape you into who you're meant to be. This is the moment every Stoic eventually faces when you stop asking, "Why is this so hard?" and start saying, "This is how I grow." Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." You've read those words before, maybe even understood them, but it's only when life presses you, when discipline becomes painful, when the struggle feels endless, that you feel what he meant. The obstacle is not your enemy, it's your teacher. Discipline, once seen as a cage, becomes the key that unlocks your freedom. Because true freedom isn't the absence of rules, it's the ability to rule yourself. When you master your impulses, you stop being dragged by them. When you control your habits no longer control you. And when you live by principles instead of moods, life stops feeling chaotic. This is the turning point of the Stoic path, the realization that structure is not a prison, it's a path to peace. Think of the archer. He doesn't curse the tension of his bowstring. He knows that the string's resistance is what gives the arrow its power. In the same way, your daily disciplines, your routines, your self-restraint, your silence are not weights that hold you down. They are the forces that launch you forward. When you begin to see discipline as a source of strength rather than sacrifice, your relationship with effort changes. You stop fighting yourself. You stop looking for shortcuts, you stop resenting the work, and something shifts. You start waking up not because you have to, but because you get to. You train your body not out of punishment, but out of respect. You hold your peace not because you fear reaction, but because you value inner stillness more than victory. Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free." And bravery, in Stoic philosophy, doesn't mean loud courage or public heroism. It means the quiet act of facing each day with steadiness, of showing up, no matter how you feel. Freedom isn't found in escape. It's found in endurance. When you endure discomfort with calm acceptance, you stop running from life. You begin to live with it, fully, intentionally, fearlessly. This is why Stoics trained their minds like warriors. They knew that life wouldn't always be kind, but that their response could always be strong. They practiced discipline not to impress others, but to remain unshaken by chaos. To the undisciplined, this life may look restrictive, no excess, no indulgence, no shortcuts. But to the Stoic, it's the opposite. It's freedom from dependence, freedom from chaos, freedom from being a slave to your own emotions. When you no longer need pleasure to feel whole, or approval to feel worthy, that's when you are free. When your peace no longer depends on what happens, but on how you respond, that's when you are strong. The moment you realize this truth, that every small act of self-control is an act of liberation, you begin to walk lighter. You stop chasing and start becoming. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop living on impulse and start living on purpose. The turning point isn't a grand revelation, it's quiet clarity. You begin to see that the peace you've been searching for was never missing. It was hidden behind noise, distraction, and the false idea that comfort is happiness. The Stoic discovers peace the moment they stop running from effort and start walking through it. So when the world tells you that discipline is sacrifice, remember this: sacrifice is temporary, regret is forever. And the man who endures the discipline of today earns the freedom of tomorrow. Discipline is not something you decide once. It's something you renew every day, in silence, in small moments that no one sees. The Stoics didn't preach about self-control, they practiced it in the way they walked, spoke, and thought. Their greatness wasn't born in the Colosseum of grand events, but in the quiet corners of daily life. Epictetus said, "If you wish to be good, first believe that you are bad." He wasn't speaking of shame. He was speaking of awareness. To become disciplined, you must first see where you are weak, not to condemn yourself, but to understand yourself. This is where your practice begins, with awareness. Every Stoic day began with reflection. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal each morning to remind himself of what truly mattered. He didn't wake up seeking comfort. He woke up preparing his mind for resistance. He would write, "Today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, arrogance, deceit, and selfishness." Not as complaint, but as armor. He didn't want to be surprised by human weakness. He wanted to be ready for it. That's your first Stoic habit. Prepare your mind before the day begins. You don't start the day by checking your phone, your messages, or your notifications. You start it by checking your mind. Ask yourself, what kind of person will I be today? Calm or reactive? Disciplined or distracted? Grateful or entitled? Because the tone of your day is set by the tone of your thoughts. The second habit is detachment from noise. Modern life feeds on distraction. It wants your attention more than anything else. But a Stoic mind is guarded. Seneca warned, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you can improve." That doesn't just mean people, it also means what you consume. If you surround your mind with noise, your thoughts will mirror it. But if you surround it with silence, truth begins to speak. So, take time each day to step away from stimulation. A walk in quiet, a few minutes without a screen, a pause before you respond. Silence is not emptiness. It's strength. In silence you observe, you see patterns, you gain clarity. The third practice is mastery of attention. Your focus is your most valuable currency. The Stoics knew that a scattered mind cannot be strong. Marcus wrote, "Do what nature demands of you, get a move on if you have it in you, and don't look around to see if people will know about it. Stop trying to do everything. Do what matters and do it well. Whether it's your work, your craft, your studies, or your body, choose one thing each day to master and give it your full attention. When you focus, you enter flow. When you enter flow, you forget yourself. And when you forget yourself, you become calm." Discipline grows through focus, not force. The fourth Stoic habit is emotional control. To control your emotions doesn't mean to suppress them. It means to understand them before they control you. When anger arises, pause. When envy burns, observe. When fear tightens your chest, breathe. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Most of your pain doesn't come from life itself. It comes from your thoughts about life. The Stoic knows this, and so they train themselves to separate fact from feeling. When you learn to pause before reacting, you reclaim your peace. That pause, that single breath between stimulus and response, is where wisdom lives. The fifth practice is gratitude. It might sound simple, even cliché, but to a Stoic, gratitude was power. It was a shield against envy, frustration, and desire. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself, "Do not imagine having what you do not have, but count the blessings you do possess." Gratitude turns your attention away from what's missing toward what's eternal. It breaks the cycle of endless wanting and teaches you to be content within effort. You can't be both grateful and restless at the same time. Gratitude is the discipline of enough. The final habit, the one that ties them all together, is evening reflection. At the end of each day, the Stoics reviewed their actions, not to judge, but to grow. Epictetus advised, "Let sleep not come upon your weary eyes before you have reviewed all your actions of the day. Ask yourself, where did I live according to my values? Where did I fail to remain calm? What will I do better tomorrow?" This daily self-examination transforms your life. Because when you live with awareness, every day becomes a teacher. The Stoic practice isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Discipline isn't born in one great act of strength. It's built through small, quiet choices repeated with consistency. You don't need to change everything. You just need to keep showing up calmly, consistently, silently. Because the Stoic doesn't seek motivation, they seek mastery. And mastery begins the moment you realize that discipline is the highest form of self-respect. You begin to realize something subtle, something that most people never see. Discipline was never about control, it was about freedom. The untrained mind believes freedom is doing whatever you want. But the Stoic knows that's slavery to impulses, moods, desires, and distractions. True freedom is when nothing owns you. Not pleasure, not comfort, not fear. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That is the end of the Stoic path, inner command. When you live with discipline, you are no longer dragged by emotion or noise. You choose what deserves your energy. You act from principle, not pressure. You speak from clarity, not reaction. And slowly your mind becomes still. Not because the world becomes quiet, but because you do. The disciplined man is not rigid. He bends like bamboo, but he does not break. He feels pain, but he does not become it. He faces failure, but he does not stop, because he knows something that others forget: discomfort is not your enemy. Discomfort is the forge that purifies your strength. The Stoics taught that virtue, not pleasure, not success, is the highest good. And discipline is the path to virtue. Without it, the mind roams aimlessly. With it, the mind walks in alignment with reason, purpose, and peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." That line contains the entire Stoic essence. Don't talk about discipline, live it. Don't preach self-control, practice it. Don't chase peace, protect it. Think about what happens when you live this way. Your days become intentional. Your mornings are no longer chaotic. Your nights end with reflection, not regret. You stop chasing validation. You stop needing approval. You stop fearing loss, because the Stoic understands what's outside you cannot define what's within you. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Bravery is not about grand gestures. It's about quiet choices, saying no when you must, walking away when you should, staying calm when others rage. This is the peace that comes from inner discipline, the peace that no one can take away. Imagine your life like a fortress. Every habit you build, reflection, focus, gratitude, control, becomes a stone. Each one strengthens your walls. Outside, storms may rage, criticism, chaos, failure, temptation, but inside there is calm. You no longer crumble under pressure because your foundation is internal, not external. And that's what Stoicism always pointed to, not the control of life, but the control of self within life. The disciplined Stoic walks through the noise of the world untouched, because his compass points inward. When you understand this, something shifts. You stop seeing discipline as restriction. You see it as liberation. Every moment you say no to distraction, you say yes to purpose. Every time you rise early, you rise above weakness. Every time you act with patience instead of reaction, you become untouchable. This is the art of self-mastery. This is the Stoic path, not loud, not glamorous, but deeply transformative. Because in the end, it's not about appearing disciplined, it's about becoming whole. So remember this: success without discipline collapses, freedom without order dissolves, peace without boundaries vanishes. Discipline is the invisible thread that ties all virtues together: patience, wisdom, courage, and peace. Without it, you're tossed around by life. With it, you move like a river, steady, calm, and unstoppable. Marcus Aurelius once reflected, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's where your journey ends, not in control of the world, but in command of yourself. Discipline is not punishment. It's the highest form of self-love. It's choosing the path of peace, even when it's steep. Because when you master yourself, you no longer chase calmness. You become it. Peace is not found in freedom from effort. It is found in the effort to be free.